Hey guys, Dib the Awesome here to give you a very, I'd say, pretty relevant reaction video. This is about a day since the multiplayer update. This is a update video on, again, like I just said, the multiplayer on the title card. Moral of the story is this is probably the worst multiplayer update ever. Because they've now officially taken off the reset button. What the reset button did was it was allows you to refresh, or the refresh button. I said reset button, but basically it's the reset button. It's refresh. It's just resetting who you get to fight in the multiplayer mode, since you only get 3 opponents every 2 hours. Uh, this is really, really huge. No longer can you refresh your opponents. So if you have 3 opponents you cannot beat, you have to fight them. Period. Like despite the level advantage. If you only have like a level 110s and you have to fight 3 level 130s or 2 level 130s and one 120, you have to fight it. There is no refreshing. There is no doing anything. Or you could just wait the 2 hours, and you could possibly get the same results again without, you could get the same, struggles of 130 monsters. Uh, Now, let's talk about why they did this. So let's read it. Let's read it. Dear Monster Masters, since we reworked the multiplayer, we have noticed that some players are exploiting the refresh button to search for new players and battle them repeatedly. Now, I don't know how they can battle the same person repeatedly. I would think there would be some time where you can't. Uh, But in this case, I guess they never did that, and people were able to fight the same people twice, or just keep attacking the same person over and over again. Uh, so they would like to prevent the situation, as it's become increasingly frustrating for players who start to play the game. Well, for one, they're starting to play the game. That's the first thing up the bat. They're starting to play the game. Uh, I don't think they. I don't think they, separated the leagues where, woods would fight, wood players will fight wood players. I don't think they're doing that. I don't think they don't. It wouldn't be the case if that was then, but it is apparently. So yeah, I don't think they organized it right. So this is their way of fixing it by removing the refresh button. Period. Uh, the refresh button had up to, I do believe, like 10 refreshes or 7. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you could refresh it quite a number of times before you had to stop refresh and actually fight the thing it gave you. But in this thing, they removed it completely. So it started, actually, this update actually started this season. Uh, they expect this change that will make the competition fairer. Instead of searching for weakest opponents, it will resolve more around your own battle strategy and ability to battle. Uh, Now, a lot of people battled weaker opponents. And honestly, I don't think it's to get up in the leagues. I think it's more so just so they can either try something new, try different monster team comps out, uh, to do the events. The maze right now. You can get, if you spin the wheel, you get 50 coins, or you win, you get like 15 coins. This will greatly reduce the amount of items you actually get from the PvP in events now. This will do it. If you're not like in a low league, you won't be able to do the events anymore. To a point, you'll still be able to, but it's going to take you longer, and you might only get to a node or two, or just what have you. Uh, in terms of like a progression event, but in terms of like a maze, uh, yeah, this is pretty huge. This hits hard for the current maze too, because you need as much coins as possible, and you're gonna have fewer spins because of this update if you just keep on losing your matches. Uh, but again, their idea is they just want people to get up in the ranks, so that's why they take it out, and it bothers me greatly. I don't like the fact they took away the refresh button, because for me personally, I didn't care what league I was in, as I just cared more so about getting coins, and or whatever items I needed for the given event that's currently out, because they do multiplayer stuff. Multiplayer is a requirement for breeding or whatever have you, whatever it is. You need to win matches. It's not about losing matches either. I mean, like it's again, you have to win the match. It's just always been a thing. People have always been doing. In fact, this has been a thing that's been going on even before the rework. People would fight weaker opponents or just things that were slower than them. Uh, that's just always how it's been. If they wanted to change how this game was really going, they need to start, judging it based on what the player actually has in terms of monster levels and pair it up with them. They have to stop pairing up, uh, you know, opponents, just based on what league you're in. If you're like, legendary, that means you have to fight people that are legendary. That would make sense, obviously, but in terms of level advantage, like 100 and like if a player has 130 monsters, how are you going to possibly win against, if he had brought a team of like 110s? Like let's say that if you only had like 110s and maybe like a 120 monster that you have and or 115 monster that you have, just you don't have very many ranked up stuff. In fact, you don't even have one ranked up 130 monster. It's just an unfair advantage for the AI has just an unfair advantage, and you can't do anything about it. For the most part, of course counter picking sometimes helps. Sometimes I'm saying a period. Sometimes helps. But it's very little, very, very little, because at some point obviously since you're 15 levels behind the enemies, for most part, not all the monsters, but even greater for some other ones too, uh, you're just gonna take a bunch of damage and you're just gonna lose your monsters. They'll always get the first turn in, what have you. It's just gonna be really, really ugly. I really hate this update. I'm not happy about it. I've lost like 3 games in a row, and I couldn't do anything about it. Like I can't because I don't have the 130 monsters. My team isn't the equal level of my opponent, and I can't do anything about it. I'm just gonna keep losing matches. I'm not gonna get anywhere in the maze event as much as I wanted to anyway. I really wanted to just keep spinning the wheels to get coins, so I can get the living forest. The first several monsters in the event, so I can get Metalhead, which everyone is interested in getting too. I'm not the only one. Uh, so yeah, I'm just pretty much don't like the update period. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you really, really, really do hate this new multiplayer, because now I'm just hating it. I really do miss the old one where you could just use a bunch of different monsters. You didn't have to use very specific monsters for each and every single multiplayer game, because they've pretty much restricted what you use now in terms of the dungeons. You can't even use whatever you want in the dungeons. In fact, I think the only one that lets you do what you want nowadays is the survival dungeon. That's the only dungeon without a restriction. I really do want to know what you guys feel about this update. Again, let me know in the comments below. I'm Dib the Awesome, and I hope you have a wonderful night.